Hey everyone, my name's Anthony and I am the owner of Traders Galaxy. I don't know if you've heard of Traders Galaxy before, but Traders Galaxy is a small miniatures and games designing, producing manufacturer based in regional Queensland, Australia. I started Traders Galaxy in 2017. And you may know Traders Galaxy through one of our games, whether it be Bot War, whether it be Beat 'em Up, Broken Skies, ROTD, Monsters Invading My Town, or Black Hollow. So most of those may be lost on you because a couple of those are in draft form still. But I've been sort of producing miniatures and games here for some years. So I thought I would try and inject a bit of life into my YouTube channel, which I've sadly neglected over the years, and make this YouTube channel more about people interested in independent manufacturers and their games, and also like seeing behind the curtain a little bit about how the sausage is made, as they say. So I'm trying to, in this video, give some of my thoughts on the story or the background behind games, meaning should miniature games have like a lore or a backstory or things like that. So and I guess the short answer of that is I think they should. So I just thought I'd give the story of Traders Galaxy and the Bot War universe, or the Traders Galaxy verse, as some may have called it, and how that came about and the inspirations for it. So, I mean, Traders Galaxy now has been going since late 2017, as many have probably know. Like, if you've seen me before, I have spoken about this on interviews with Brad from Cast Dice and stuff, how Traders Galaxy started. It was very, very humble beginnings, let me tell you. And so over the years, things have expanded, and we have more. I have written more games and have a bit more experience. And I'm not saying I'm an expert by any means, but I can share the experience I do have with you guys, and if you like it, then subscribe and help grow this channel, and I'll do more of these videos. So initially, I think when I wrote the first Bot War, I want to say it was around 2019, I think, and it did not have hardly any background story at all. I think it was very basic background story, and as things progressed, I realized that was it was really missing, a background story of why the characters are fighting and who the characters even were. Was really missing from the game. And when I wrote Bot War 2 around the start of 2020, I started to it really bothered me, and I started to put in a lot more about. I tried to flesh out a little bit about why each faction of Bot War was in the conflict, and an overarching reason for the conflict. And a lot of that was drawn on the inspirations for the game itself was obviously drawn on I'm a Gen Xer, and Saturday morning cartoons in the 80s were a thing. You just never missed them. And so that's how you spent Saturday morning, pretty much every morning, with a bowl of cereal on Saturday morning cartoons. So a lot of the storylines and a lot of the colours and the over the top villains and things like that all came from those Saturday morning cartoons. A bit of a sort of I guess a campy sort of feel to it, bright colours and things. And that's another reason I wanted to go that direction, because there's so many dystopian games out there now. Everyone's gonna die and all this sort of stuff, and I'm just it was just getting quite full on. You know, the world's been invaded by demons yet again. You know, it's like, okay, there's only so much of that. You know, that's you know, these existential threat conflicts that I can take, especially in when the real world's becoming more like that all the time. So so I wanted to create something a little bit different in that regard, but I didn't really like, even with Bot War 2 and a little bit of the story, a lot of the character, and what I used to do is whenever a new character came out, I'd write a few lines on the Facebook group as I showed the character, oh, this is sort of what this character does, and this is what it's about. And it wasn't really in depth or anything like that. It wasn't really until about 2022, I think, that I really started committing to, you know what, I need a universe for my games, because there's no like anchor point for anything. Everything seems so sort of like, you know, not connected. And so I really got stuck in 2022 and started writing like the faction guides, which is sort of the Traders Galaxy version of army books or codexes for each of the factions. So whenever someone wants to pick up like get into Bot War or something, they would get the faction guide and see what the army is like and things like that. So the other thing was that a lot of people, there was well, not a lot of people, I guess, but a few people were saying, oh, like, where do I find the lore of the game? And there was really no place. It was just like scattered between the website and the website blog and the Facebook page and things like that. So there was really no way of like saying, oh, pointing someone in the direction, oh, here it is here. And so creating the army books or the faction guides were really the way to say, hey, like, these are going to be like the main drivers of the lore, and everything you're going to know about your faction is going to be in these army books. And so that was a really great way. I went through all of the Facebook pages and stuff that I'd written to find all the lore that I'd written and expand on it, and really give each character a full biography about, you know, who they are and why they're here and all that sort of stuff. And I really think that is the core, like the feeling of not having a universe was really driven to me by like my I mean, back in the day, I was a big fan of Warhammer. Like, you know, the late 90s, early 2000s, I got into miniature. I was doing World War II miniatures and painting before then, but once I got into Warhammer, I was hooked. Like the universe, and it's really a testament to the level of creativity and genius from some of those early founders of Games Workshop, like, you know, most of us would probably know, obviously Rick Priestley and Nigel Stillman and Jake Thornton and all these guys that have really contributed to what is quite an amazing and really engaging universe that so many people enjoy. And that role play element from the early days of Warhammer like seeped through into those games as well, and I really think that's what makes that whole universe stand apart, is that level of that connection to the characters and things like that. So that's why I think that the universe is just so important, and that's one thing that Traders Galaxy did not have at that time. So that was my mission, is to create that universe. And so as that universe, I did start creating that universe through the faction guides, as I was saying, it really started to take on a life of its own, which to me was like one of the most enjoyable things. It's like everything just connected. And that also started then driving miniature design and game rules, which is what I really loved. Like it felt like I was doing it the wrong way, and once I had the stories and the lore, it all clicked into place, and it was doing the right way. And now I find it's almost like growing by itself, which is like really great. Like things just like click into place, and the story just works and connects dots that I didn't even really wasn't really trying to connect, which was pretty fantastic. And as things expanded through Bot War, I realized that universe had so many additional places to explore that the bots couldn't go. Because the Bot War game, for those that don't know, is a 10mm scale where the humans are like 10mm, and the bots are like giant. So but it's a skirmish game, which is sort of odd. Whereas I had some 30mm range stuff, and I was actually producing the same miniatures in 10 and 30mm, and then the bots were like much larger. And that's a squad-based game, which is sort of like the opposite of what you would think, I guess. But those ROTD, which is Rise of Democracy, which is the 30mm range, set in the same universe, allowed for some much more human-relatable stories, and it looked at the conflict of the Bot War from a completely different angle, on a more localized and regional setting, and you realize that the bots are actually probably not that common in the Bot War itself, and there's a lot going on in the Bot War that is like human related. And so once that started, then it was nothing to put all of the games that Traders Galaxy makes within that Traders Galaxy verse. And so Beat 'em Up, when that came out just recently, that's all set in the Bot War universe as well. So there's a lot of like familiar names that people would know across games, etc., etc. And even like that sharing of the universe like that not only deepens the universe, but even within the game rules themselves, I've tried to create some similar core mechanics across most of my games to decrease the intellectual cost of people learning a brand new game every time they wish to play something new. And so from scratch, that is. There's obviously still major differences, but the very core mechanics, I mean, it's in Traders Galaxy games, and I'm getting a little bit off subject here, in Traders Galaxy games, the core mechanics are probably not where you play the game. If you know, you know. So, but I guess if you try it out, you'll see. But I will do videos on core mechanics at a later date. I'm try and do 2 videos a month for the channel. So yeah, but the lore has really expanded, and with now the Galactic Transmission magazines that I try to get to every other month, which I don't always. I always try to expand the lore within that as well. So there's always something that's growing that universe and deepening that universe. So if you like narrative games and you like ongoing support with narrative games and things like that, then yeah, Traders Galaxy, you may like it. Traders Galaxy games. And then we've written 2 campaign books as well, which sort of move the universe forward a bit as well. So they've always been quite interesting to play with the universe and move it forward like that. We're not afraid to like get stuck in where we are. We haven't hit the 90s yet because it's set. The Traders Galaxy universe is set in an alternative 1980s, but we have moved forward a couple of years from when we first started. So yeah, we may hit the 90s at some point. So but yeah, but that's really it. That's all I wanted to talk about in this video. Keep it short and sweet, about 15 minutes each time. And yeah, if you like this video and its content, and you like sort of the direction that I'm going with these videos, please like and subscribe. I want to try and build this channel up a bit. And if you want to hear about something else to do with Traders Galaxy games or whatever, please put a request in the comments, and I'll catch you guys later. See ya.